Well, welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm really thrilled that you're going to be with us tonight, or at whatever time zone you're in. And we're going to be doing some really powerful energy work. So, and some of you know my work. A lot of you are new to my work. So there's a lot of material I need to give first to really make sure we're all on the same page. And I promise you, we're going to do some very, very powerful energy work. Okay. Whoop. All right. Sorry, 1 second. Okay. That didn't work. Let me try it again. Those of you who do know my work know it wouldn't be an energetic NLP teleworkshop if we didn't have some technical problems. And those of you that were on earlier, particularly when the energy gets really flowing, sometimes things get a little wacky. So just know that can happen and it's nothing to worry about. And even if you get disconnected, the energy will keep flowing. So our topic is how to be guided and supported by your inner wisdom and spirit. You're in the right place if you wonder, suspect, or know that you're more than just your conscious mind, unconscious mind, and body. If you sense, like so many of us do, that you have so much more potential than you've manifested in your life so far, no matter how successful you've been. People that are attracted to energetic NLP have this deep sense that they're just scratching the surface. There's so much more possible for them. And you're in the right place if your life is great and you're just always looking for your next steps in your personal and spiritual development. You're also in the right place if you feel stuck or frustrated or disappointed with some aspects of your life. And you're in the right place if you really, really, really want to enjoy your life. You're in the right place if you want to contribute to making the world a better place. And didn't mean to repeat that, but it's worth repeating. You want to really, really, really enjoy your life. So if you want to grow and develop, and one of the main themes in energetic NLP is living an authentic, meaningful, and satisfying life. And I hope by the end of the evening, you'll have a different definition of authentic. Because unfortunately, a lot of times when people think they're being authentic, what they're being authentic to is to their unconscious and energetic programming. They're being authentic to their karma, to their spiritual contracts. They're not necessarily being authentic to the being that they are. And my goal for all of you is that you have a whole new sense of what authenticity is by the end of this talk. I'm going to pack as much as I can into this presentation. For the most part, I won't be answering questions. After we do the spiritual contracts, I will answer a few questions, and I'd love to hear your experiences. But in 75 minutes, we don't really have time to answer questions. And at the end of this talk, I'll let you know how it's possible to work more closely with me in living a miraculous life. And I love this quote from Deepak Chopra. For most people, the greatest good they could do for themselves is to change their energy. And I think that's absolutely true, and it's absolutely been my experience. So one of the things that's puzzled me in working with clients, and particularly in the 80s when I started working with people using NLP and energy work, and I'll explain more about that in a moment. But I've had a lot of students and clients who are really committed to their personal development, and yet, in spite of all their hard work and their efforts, they feel they're not realizing their full potential. And a lot of them have improved many areas of their lives, but in some areas of their lives, they're stuck, or they just can't seem to get a handle on it, or they just know there's just so much more potential for success and happiness, but they don't know what else to do. And one of the ideas I'd like you to consider when we're working in this, I keep saying this evening, some of you will be listening to the recording later in this session. So one of the goals of discovering your miraculous self and the work that we're doing is that you really get, and not just in your mind, but in your body, that as a spiritual being, you are bigger, more beautiful, more powerful, and more complex than you can understand. And I don't mean that as some kind of pretty platitude. When you really start opening up your abilities to look at energy, I've literally seen street people that their lives were a complete mess. But when I would look at their energy, I would see this amazing, beautiful being who wasn't being manifest in their life, but it was completely there. And I've never seen anybody who didn't have it. So the question becomes, what stops you from fully expressing the amazing being you are in your life? And one thing I want to be clear about, when it's about fully expressing, there's a way you can hold that goal, that heart's desire, in a way that's oppressive. So some people invalidate themselves for not fully expressing who they are. I remember one of my colleagues for many years is a wonderful man named John Friedlander, who's kind of like a brother to me now. And we work with each other every week and keep developing our skills and our abilities and our concepts. And I remember back in the early 90s, he said to me, Art, you're always going for personal growth because you're trying to fix yourself, or because you think that where you are isn't good enough because you have all this potential and it's not okay where you are. And he went, you don't have to do it from that place. You can do it from just the joy and the appreciation and the gratitude for the possibility of expressing more of the amazing being that you are. You can do it just out of the joy of growth. So when I'm going to be speaking later about the principles of energetic NLP and how they can change your life just by these new concepts. And this is one of them, that we don't have to fix ourselves. We don't have to treat ourselves as somehow we're not where we should be, and do our growth and our development for the sheer joy of it. And we'll be talking a lot more about that. And right now in this session, you can take a step closer to expressing the amazing being that you are by being guided and supported by your inner wisdom and by your spirit. So my goals for you today, I want to introduce you to energetic NLP. I'm going to guide you in a very unique and powerful process for ending or revising spiritual contracts that limit your life. And some of you have already done spiritual contract work. Unless you've done it with me, and I'm not saying you haven't done wonderful work with other people. There's a lot of people doing wonderful work with spiritual contracts. And there's some things in the way that we do it in energetic NLP that I think are very unique and extremely powerful. And I haven't seen anyone else do some of the things that we do with it. The other thing is, even if you've done spiritual contract work before, it's not something you do once and you're done with. It's something you need to keep revisiting. And when I say you need to do that, for a lot of people aren't into personal spiritual growth, and they don't ever have to do it, or they could do it once, and maybe that's their valid spiritual path. For the kind of people that are attracted to my work, and the kind of people that are on this participating in this session, we're into growing, we're into developing, and for us, we need to keep working on spiritual contracts. There's something in energetic NLP that I like to call the Goldilocks principle. And or sometimes I'll talk about Saint Goldilocks. And again, we like to, we believe in the power of being playful, being amused, having fun with the growth. So I'm sure all of you have heard the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And if you haven't, just to give you the highlights of it, Goldilocks is lost in the woods. She comes upon a cabin. It's where the three bears live, but they're not home. And she keeps finding things in threes. So she goes in the kitchen and there's 3 bowls of porridge on the table. One's too hot, one's too cold, one's just right. She's tired. She finds 3 beds. One's too small, one's too big, one's just right. So the message, and she's always finding what's just right for her. And even if we could change all of your spiritual contracts right now, boom, in an instant, you wouldn't want to do it, because more and faster is not the same as better. I can tell you from bitter personal experience that when you push your personal growth too fast, you can throw yourself into what's called a healing crisis. And you've all probably experienced these in one way or another. A healing crisis is where things are happening that can be very either mildly or extremely uncomfortable or difficult, or you can get sick, or anyways, it can be very intense. And it is a healing, it is a growth, but it's a very unpleasant experience. And sometimes in life, it may need to be that way, but most of the time it doesn't. So we're always invoking the Goldilocks principle. And when we work on contracts later, we are not going to try to change all of the contracts that limit you in your life in one fell swoop. You're going to put your inner wisdom and spirit in charge, and I'll explain how to do that later. And then you'll be able to, with your inner wisdom and spirit in charge, then your inner wisdom and spirit will decide how much you should do right now. And again, at the end of the session, I'll tell you how you can do more in the future if you want to. I'll also be explaining the energetic NLP system for personal and spiritual development. And at the end, I'll let you know how you can have a deep, personal, lasting, ongoing transformation by working more closely with me. So we got lots to do. Give me a moment. I'm going to switch back to the other screen for a moment. I just want to check and make sure that everything's working, that nobody's saying that they can't hear me. And for those of you that have come on later, welcome. And it's wonderful if you put in your first name and say hello. That would be really great. It's helpful for me. It gives more of a sense of community on the call. All righty. So let me go back to the other screen. Whoops. Why is it giving me a hard time? It's going to work here. It's just being a little funky. There we go. All right. So let me move forward. So what stops you from expressing the amazing being that you are in your life? There's a term that we've created in energetic NLP, and it's called whole being permission. Whole being permission. And in energetic NLP, and when people in my training programs, I teach them how to read somebody's energy. And you can read what's going on with their body, their unconscious mind, their conscious mind, the soul, and their spirit. And obviously, I can't explain how to do that right now, but it's something everybody can do. So when I talk about things that I can do, I'm not saying I can do it and you can't. It makes me crazy, this myth out there that only a few special people have the gifts and can be healers and do transformative energy work and read people's energy fields. Everybody can do it. It's not everybody's path. Not everybody's interested in it. But I've been training people how to do it for 33 years. Everybody who wants to do it can do it. And it was back, I think around 1990, I was working with this woman, really nice woman, big heart, integrity, cared about other people, fun, personable, pretty, attractive. And she had men in her life, but she couldn't seem to attract men in her life that were really candidates for a lifelong, wonderful relationship, which is what she consciously wanted. And so we were working on it. And the energy work I was doing was being blocked. And at first, because I wasn't as experienced back then, I thought, oh, am I doing something wrong? And then I realized, no, I'm being blocked. And the blockage was coming from her soul. And when I was communicating with her soul, the message I got was that her soul wanted her to be independent more than anything else. And it was afraid that if she had this kind of deep, loving relationship, that she would lose her independence. So consciously, she totally yearned for this wonderful relationship, but her spirit, her soul, was in opposition to it. And that was the first time it really became clear to me that there's a lot of agendas running in people's lives. And the way I like to think of it, imagine this fabulous restaurant. Somebody goes, this is the best restaurant in the world. And they make amazing food. And the service is amazing. And in whole being permission, we talk about your body has wants and needs, or an agenda. Your unconscious mind has wants and needs, and those can be in conflict because your unconscious mind is complex. You can want different things at the same time. Your conscious mind has an agenda, your soul has an agenda, and your spirit has an agenda. And in this brief time we have tonight, I'm not going to explain the difference between your soul and your spirit, but just know that each of these aspects of yourselves, your body, your unconscious mind, your conscious mind, your soul, and your spirit, have agendas. They have wants and needs for you. So you've all heard about the law of attraction and The Secret, and people often go, why does it work really well sometimes? And sometimes it doesn't work at all. And sometimes even you can be really negative and everything turns out great. Well, it's because these different aspects of you are asking for different things. So if you imagine yourself back at this fabulous restaurant, let's say your conscious mind goes, I'd like a wonderful vegan meal. And maybe your unconscious mind is going, no, waiter, I want a steak. And I want really rich food and a lot of carbs and bread and pasta and creamy sauces. And maybe another part of your unconscious mind is going, no, or maybe let's say your body is going, no, I don't want that heavy food. I want something light. And maybe your soul is going, well, I'm not sure we're worthy of a fantastic meal. And your spirit's going, well, what you have free will, whatever you want, I'll support. So the waiter, of course, is going to sit there going, I can't make you a meal when you're ordering 5 different things. And that's the way people go through life often. I mean, some areas of your life, everything's aligned and things go smoothly. Where that doesn't happen, or where you bump into your limitations, you don't have whole being permission. Your body, your unconscious mind, your conscious mind, your soul, and your spirit are not fully aligned. And without that full alignment, it's difficult or too impossible to have these experiences that you want. An aspect of that is your karma and your spiritual contracts. And we're going to work on spiritual contracts tonight. And karma is a very complex topic. And I'm not going to attempt to explain it in any depth tonight. And there's different versions of it that are very different. A lot of people think of it as like reward or punishment. The way that I work with karma is using the definitions the Dalai Lama uses. And the Dalai Lama talks about karma as just being the law of cause and effect. Everything you think, everything you do has effects that ripple through your life. So if there isn't some way to change it, you have these constant waves of cause and effect running through your life. They limit your authenticity, they limit your choices. So your past is controlling your present and the future. And we want you to have your authentic power in the now. So karma is a problem because it creates a great deal of limitation. In the Discover Your Miraculous Self program, we do a lot of work on karma. We're not going to work on that tonight, but we are going to work on spiritual contracts. Again, it's a complicated subject, but the brief version of it is spiritual contracts are agreements your conscious mind has made, your soul has made, or your spirit has made. It can be with other people. It can be with groups. It can be in this lifetime, or it can be from past lifetimes. Now, there's a lot of different beliefs about past lives. Everything from they don't exist to they do exist, but to them being linear, to them being non-linear. I mean, it's a really complex subject. And you don't need to believe anything particular about past lives for what we're doing. But one thing I can say for sure is people have energy in their energy fields that is from other lives. And that energy has programming, it has beliefs, and it has contracts, and it has karma in it. And it affects the person. Why it's there, that's an interesting question. Were you that person? What does that even mean? I mean, that's a whole interesting thing. But for somebody who's kind of out there spiritually, I'm also a very practical person. And for me, what matters is realizing that however the energy got there, I guarantee that everybody on this call has energy in their energy field from other lifetimes. And that's limiting your life because of the programming in it, because of the spiritual contracts, and because of the karma. And tonight you will have a chance to clear some of that. So just briefly, I want to point out that, as children, we're fascinated by magic, we're the supernatural. The whole idea that we're special in some way is just fascinating to children. And children have these childhood dreams. It's why so many books, comic books, and movies about people who think they were ordinary, even sometimes they're outsiders, nerds, or losers, and they discover that secretly all along they're special and they have these amazing abilities. And whether they find out they're really a prince or a princess, or nowadays vampires and werewolves seem to be in. When I was a kid, they were more the bad guys, but now we have good vampires and werewolves, but superheroes, people that are magical in different ways. Children are fascinated by this. And usually they have some kind of mentor, teacher, somebody brings it out in them, these amazing abilities. And this is a small list. I mean, if you went through movies, TV shows, and books, most of them have this as part of their plot, I would say. Now, let me just skip that one. These stories are popular not because they're childhood dreams. I mean, that's an indirect reason. You had these childhood dreams because on a deep inner level, you knew that it was possible for you to do things that go way beyond the ordinary. You knew that you're secretly an amazing being. So this is something that's inside of us that you knew. And that's why kids are attracted to all of this. Give me just a moment. Clicked on the wrong button. There we go. All right. So just very briefly, because I want to get into the contracts real quickly, so I'm going to rush through a few things here. Energetic NLP is not NLP. NLP is a piece of energetic NLP. NLP stands for Neuro-Linguistic Programming. I've been a trainer in NLP since 1985, and I was lucky enough to study with all the developers of the field. And NLP, or Neuro-Linguistic Programming, is a system that was developed as an alternative to the traditional psychology, and is a way for people to make rapid, deep transformation in their lives. I combine that with spiritual principles, transformative energy work, energetic and spiritual healing, and intuition development. So let me just pop through this. So we've been talking about whole being permission. Another important concept before we get on to contracts is this idea of a miraculous self, and how that your miraculous self can help you create happiness, success, and guide and support you in your life. So let me just real briefly, because some of you don't know me, I'm the creator of Energetic NLP. I have a very diverse background. I manage a research lab at one of the world's top research institutions, the University of California Medical School in San Francisco. I did that for 11 years. We were studying the effects of estrogen and progesterone and the tissues of a woman's body. I'm also a corporate consultant. I work with many of the top companies in their fields in developing leaders, executive coaching, creating high-performing teams, all based on people learning how to bring out the best in one another. As I mentioned, I've been an NLP trainer since 1985. I'm a life coach, intuitive, and healer. I've had a variety of amazing teachers and healers in transformative energy work. I've been really blessed. Some of you have heard of John of God. Wayne Dyer used to talk about him. Oprah talks about him. She's been down there. He's this amazing Brazilian healer. And he doesn't teach, but he's been working with me since 2003 to keep developing my abilities, both my psychic abilities, my abilities to do healings with other people, and my spiritual abilities. And I've been blessed to have 2 empowerments from the Dalai Lama. So, that's great. But I don't want to imply that that I was always in that way. Nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, I know what it's like to be frustrated and disappointed. I was stuck for many years. Here I was managing this research lab, and it was a good job, and I was proud of what we were doing. I mean, we're helping people. And, I could go have lunch and listen to Nobel laureates. I've heard Watson and Crick and all kinds of amazing people. I worked with amazing people. I just knew I wasn't born to be there. I knew it wasn't where I could ever realize my potential. but I was really stuck. I had no idea what I wanted to do next. And so I was all of these things, and lost, confused, etc. And I just didn't know why I was so stuck. And before that, I'd been a really adventuresome person. And my friends, my family, nobody can understand why I was so stuck. And they wouldn't say much about it because they knew I was hypersensitive about it. Now, in other aspects of my life were great. I had true love. I mean, my life was wonderful. I just felt like I had all this potential, but I wasn't doing anything with it that I should be doing. In energetic NLP, one of the goals is always that people have more wonderful synchronicities in their lives. And synchronicities that technically it's meaningful coincidences that have no good or logical explanation. Well, those of us that are into spirituality and energy work go there completely logical. If you believe that we're all interconnected spiritually and energetically, and that we're being guided by spiritual forces, then these illogical coincidences make complete sense. There's a reason we meet the people we meet. There's a reason when we're in the right place at the right time, and there's a reason when we're in the wrong place at the wrong time. So again, I'll make this story short, but in the past, I'd always gone for what was, I prided myself in being able to live on a low budget. And, and I would save up that money and go on some big trip or something. And I was more interested in these life experiences, but I was kind of slightly hippie-ish and didn't need material things. And through a number of really magical synchronicities, I heard about NLP, and I was reading a book on it, and it seemed to make so much sense to me, but they were making all these extravagant claims. And normally I would have just gone for what was the cheapest, easiest thing to do. But I thought, if this is really as important as I think it would be, if this has the potential to completely transform my life, then I'm going to find out who's the best person that I can find to study with. I don't care what it costs. I don't care about convenience. I'm just going to do it. And I had never done that before. And not a day goes by where I don't thank myself for that revelation that if something's really important, you go for it and you do it with people that are good. So somehow I got that. And I heard about a man named Michael LeBeau, and he retired from NLP back in 1985. So most people don't know who he is now, but he was an amazing developer and trainer in NLP, really a phenomenal man. And later, he and his wife, Leslie Cameron Bandler, who is a co-developer of NLP, became my mentors. But I heard about this program. It didn't even make any sense for me to go there. It was an advanced program, and I hadn't even taken the programs that led up to it. You're supposed to be doing at least this 18-day program before you even came to this one, if not these two 18-day programs. And I thought, I'm just going to do it. I don't care. And sometimes when you make a big life change, resistance pops up. So I severely sprained my ankle. I didn't even have time to go to the doctor. I had to borrow crutches. And there wasn't any Uber or anything. So I had to take a couple of buses. And then, and by the way, I was having to take my vacation time to do it. It was 2 5-day segments. And for those of you who aren't Americans, we don't get long vacations here. So taking all that vacation time was a big deal, and the money and, everything else. So I got there and I had to take a couple buses and a taxi, and I thought, boy, this is going to be difficult to do every day. And, getting there and getting back. And the first thing they did was go, does anybody need help with transportation? So boom, my transportation's all set. I thought, well, that's a good sign. Then Michael come out and he goes, okay, I want you all to write down your goals in being here. So we're all like writing, furiously. And he gives us 5 or 10 minutes. And then at the end of that time, he goes, now I want you to fold that paper up and put it away, and I want you to forget about it. And there were about 60 people in the room, and we all kind of went, what? At the same time. And then Michael goes, I want you to forget about it, because what I want you to get from this program is what you don't even know to want yet. And then 60 people, including me, went, oh. And then he proved it. What we got from that program, I didn't even know to want it. And totally transformed my life. Now, there were a number of other things that happened, and similarly with the energy work, same kind of thing happened. I went to a workshop with somebody who's supposed to be amazing and transformed my life. So let me pop ahead here because I want to make sure we have time. So I've been talking about whole being permission. So what are things that stop you? You all know you have unconscious programming and blocks and limiting beliefs, but that's just a little tip of the iceberg. You have spiritual and energetic blocks to your blossoming and expressing more of the amazing spiritual being that you are in your life. And in energetic NLP, we work with all of that, with your unconscious blocks, your spiritual and your energetic blocks. So let me pop forward here. So some key concepts. There's an energy field in and around your body that has a profound effect on your life. And this is something that science can confirm. They can't confirm all the different aspects of the energy field that energy workers can detect, but they know that we have lots of energy fields in our body, and they measure them regularly. We're all interconnected spiritually, energetically. Everyone is a beautiful and powerful spiritual being, and everyone has potential, has amazing spiritual abilities. So let me pop forward here. And I knew I had more slides than we'd get to, so don't worry about it. We're going to get to the key things real quickly here. So we use this term in energetic NLP, your miraculous self. And we discovered years ago that your miraculous self was the key to your having this miraculous life and this amazing spiritual journey. And in energetic NLP, we always put your miraculous self in charge of what happens for you. And just to make it easy, we call your miraculous self your M, just to make it short. So let me pop back to this slide, though. Oh, passing it. So your spirit has this vast and profound perspective on your life. It's almost like the perfect parent. It gives you free will, and it will support a lot of different choices in your life. If you want a life of ease, it can support you in that. If you want a life of struggle, it will support you in that. If you want to have true love, it will support you in that. If you want, on an inner level, I'm not saying a conscious level, to have disappointment and heartbreak, it will support you on that. Now, your inner wisdom is human, and your inner wisdom has that very human, practical perspective on your life. So when you align your spirit and your inner wisdom together, it accelerates your miraculous life. It accelerates you along your spiritual path. And at the same time, it does it in a way that makes your practical life better. Now, I'm not saying you're never going to have any life challenges or problems. That's not a human life. If you live long enough, you're going to have challenges. But it means that a lot of the unnecessary suffering. So the Dalai Lama talks about natural suffering and unnatural suffering. And unnatural suffering is the suffering that we don't have to have, but yet we create for ourselves. So when your spirit and your inner wisdom are aligned, that creates what's called your miraculous self, which is different than your high self. It's something that you create, and it's something that we create in the programs. And in order to create it, you have to clear the pathways for it. You have to have whole being permission. And to get you really moving on that is why we're going to work on spiritual contracts in just a little bit. So excuse me while I pop through a number of slides here. Oh, sorry. So just real quickly, the blocks to whole being permission can be karma, spiritual contracts, unconscious programming, including internal conflicts, beliefs, conscious and unconscious, because often it's your conscious beliefs that are getting in the way, energetic programming. When you pick up energy from other people, it has their emotions and programming in it. So there's your familial, your family program, ancestral program, societal programming, and a lot more. Energies from other people and existences and lives, and unprocessed emotional energy that's in your energy field. And then there can be a lack of permission from your body. Okay, so let's start working on spiritual contracts. Let me, didn't need that. Get back to the right page. So everybody take an easy, deep breath, and let me come back to this. Okay, so again, spiritual contracts are agreements that were consciously made by your soul, made by your spirit, and they incredibly limit your life. And the contracts that we cleared tonight will enable you to have a stronger connection to your inner wisdom and spirit, be more guided by it, and they'll have a lot of other very practical effects in your lives. So this isn't something you can do consciously. I'm going to ask you to put your M in charge. Remember, your M is your miraculous self, is your inner wisdom and spirit. So I'm going to ask you to put your M in charge right now. And all you have to do is in your mind just go, I'm giving my M 100% permission to be in charge. It's as simple as that. Now, resistance may come up, other thoughts may come up, and don't fight them and don't feed them. Just be mindful of them and go, okay, if a thought comes up, I'm not worthy, or but this, or I have to have conscious control, just go, I heard you, and go, and I'm giving permission. Because the best guidance you ever will get will be from your spirit and inner wisdom, your M working together. So I'm going to take you through the process now. Now, often in the middle of the process, because the energy will get real strong, people get in this altered space. So if at the end of the process you're going, I'm not sure if I was asleep or awake, that's fine. In fact, that's often better because it means your conscious mind's letting go of control and just letting your M be in control. And it doesn't matter if you feel the energies, don't feel the energies. There's all kinds of different reactions you can have. The only thing that will get in your way is your expectations and judgments. So just let yourself have whatever experience you're having. If you're having profound thoughts, great. If you get in this altered state, great. If you're having mundane, silly thoughts, it's also great. The only thing that will stop it is if you start going, oh, I shouldn't be thinking this, or I should be doing that, or I should be this, or I should be that. Then you'll block the energy. And if you do start going the should do's, just be mindful of it and go, okay, yeah, I've heard the should do's, and just ignore them. Okay, so take a couple easy deep breaths, and it's probably easier with your eyes closed, but you can do it any way you want. So your M has already been collecting the contracts it wants you to work on, because your M already knows what I'm going to say because of the energetic connection. And I'd like you to imagine a desk in front of you. And it doesn't matter if you can clearly imagine it or if you just pretend it's happening. It'll work either way. Either way will be perfectly fine, because your unconscious mind and your M will visualize it. So imagine a desk in front of you, and I'm going to ask your M to put the contracts on the desk in front of you. And each contract can be represented by one sheet of paper, just one sheet of paper. So you'll end up with a stack of papers on the desk. And then I'm going to ask your M to divide those paper into four different stacks. The first stack are going to be contracts that it wants you to end. And if your inner wisdom and your spirit says you can end them, you can end them. You don't need to keep them anymore. Trust your inner wisdom and spirit on this. So the first stack will be ones to end. The second stack will be ones that your inner wisdom and spirit wants you to revise. So doesn't want you to end them. It wants you to revise them. The third stack are contracts that you can't change them or revise them until you learn something or do something. And I'll call those learn do's, because there's something to learn and or do. So you have the first stack are ones to end, the second stack are ones to revise, The third stack are the learn do's. The fourth stack are contracts to leave alone for this moment. So putting your attention on the first stack, I want you to imagine giving those contracts to your M and asking your M to just cancel them right now, to end those contracts. Because your spirit and your inner wisdom knows how to do that. So let those contracts be ended right now. And while that continues, the second stack of contracts, the ones to revise, in your mind, give those over to your M, your inner wisdom and spirit, and tell your M to go off and revise them. And it doesn't matter if it takes 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 hours, 5 days. Just let your M take them off and revise them at its own rate. The third stack of contracts are the ones that there's something you need to learn or do. And as you all know, learnings can be fun, learnings can be pleasant, learnings can be mildly unpleasant, and learnings can be really rough. So give those to your M and ask your M to find ways for you to learn what you need to learn and do what you need to learn, but ask it to find enjoyable ways to do it. So ask it to find enjoyable ways for you to learn what you need to learn and do what you need to do. And go, well, if they can't be enjoyable, then make them pleasant. If they can't be pleasant, make them mildly unpleasant. So we don't want to be in resistance to sometimes they need to be a little unpleasant, but be clear with your M. I'd like them to be enjoyable. If they can't be enjoyable, I'd like them to be pleasant. And if they can't be unpleasant, then make them mildly unpleasant, but that's it. And give those to your M and let your M figure out over the coming seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, ways for you to learn what you need to learn and do what you need to do. And then that fourth stack of contracts, ones to leave alone, give those to your M now. And some of those it may be able to end now, some it may be able to revise now, and some it may become learn do's. And the rest of them it will just put back in your records. Remember the Goldilocks principle, more and faster is not the same as better. So whatever that is just right for tonight. And I'm just going to give you a couple minutes just to let that process. And keep affirming that your M is in charge, that you're giving over control to your inner wisdom and spirit, which will always, when they work together, when your inner wisdom and spirit are working together, will make decisions that will wonderfully enhance your life and will enable you to start increasing the guidance you get from your M, from your inner wisdom and spirit. And will increase the synchronicities in your life, at least a little bit right now. And even a little bit can be very significant. And while you're just relaxing and letting those process, I'm going to get back to the right slide. So give me a moment. Okay. Now, I know a lot of you are in kind of a really relaxed, wonderful state, and it'd be great if you want to put any comments into the chat box about your experiences. That would be great. And remember, whatever experience you had was fine. If you didn't notice anything, that's fine. Some of the most powerful energy healing I've ever done or I've ever received, I didn't necessarily experience it that strongly initially. Sometimes, even with like John of God, sometimes I go, yeah, that was okay. And then later, wow. In fact, Wayne Dyer has a great John of God story where he thought, yeah, okay, fine. And he had it done remotely. And people had told him he better rest in bed for 24 hours. He's going, no, I don't need to. And went on a walk and got somewhere. He lived in Hawaii, some ways down the beach. And when all of a sudden I have to get home now and realized like, oh no, I need to rest now. So, but I want you to be more alert, because there's some important concepts I want to introduce you to that will really help you increase the guidance from your inner wisdom and spirit. And I want to explain the whole system to you. So go ahead and stomp your feet, pat your body. Let's bring in some sparkling awake energy. If you move a bit, if you stretch. And again, patting and stomping your feet. In the training programs, it's funny because there's a lot of people, and you have 100 people like stomping their feet, but it brings you back in your body. And by the way, I hope you can stay to the very end, because at the very end, I want to make sure your energy's in a good place for you to do whatever you're going to do next, whether it's stay home or go out. Because you'll be in a good place, but you may not be in an appropriate energy place for whatever you're doing next, particularly if you're going to do anything like driving. So what we just did in ending revising spiritual contracts is very significant. It will enhance your life. And you'll see over the coming days and weeks, you'll start noticing shifts in your life. And some of them will be very subtle and still very important. Now, I'd be doing you an enormous disservice if I let you thought that was enough to have lasting, profound life change. I mean, what we did tonight will have significant effects on your life, that's for sure. And that was time well spent. But I used to give people the impression like, oh, that's it. And I realized how wrong that was. And people kept pointing it out to me. They go, Art, you're lucky your teachers didn't do that to you. Because my teachers always let me know like, well, this was great, but there's a lot more pieces. And if you want to have a truly miraculous life, if you want to be truly guided by your inner wisdom and spirit, by your miraculous self, there's a lot of other pieces to the puzzle. And I'd like to explain, briefly what the other pieces are. And, I call it the energetic NLP personal and spiritual development system. But these same pieces would apply whether you're doing energetic NLP or not. And I want to make sure you understand the significance of them and what can happen if you don't work with some of those pieces. So I've already mentioned whole being, permission, and alignment. So revising and ending spiritual contracts is a huge part of whole being, permission, and alignment. But there's a lot of other pieces. There's unconscious programming. There's energetic programming. There's karma. There's past life energies. There's other people's energy in your energy field. All of those things can derail you from having whole being, permission, and keep your life much more limited than it needs to be. And what can happen is, so I realized years ago I could work with somebody and they change their spiritual contracts, and really significantly, and they'd be aware they had a big life change, but then sometimes they'd go, well, why? But that didn't give me the results in my life that I wanted. So I remember years ago working with some people, particularly I can think of a couple of women who, like the other woman I mentioned earlier, really wanted, this wonderful true love in your life and in their lives and a lifelong partner. And they cleared the contracts, and they didn't know each other, but they still weren't manifesting what they wanted. And I had to explain to them, like, well, the contracts was a critical part of it, but you have all this unconscious programming in the way. You have ancestral programming in the way. Your soul isn't completely aligned. You have conscious beliefs that are in the way. So unless we do all of that, if all a person needed was the spiritual contracts, it's kind of like with vitamins. If you're only missing one vitamin, you take that vitamin and boom, you get these amazing results. But if you just start taking that one vitamin and you're still missing 4 other vitamins and these minerals, or you're eating unhealthy things, you're not going to manifest the health that you wanted, or you're not exercising. So there's a bigger picture here. So one part is whole being permission. The other is the energetic NLP principles of empowerment and playful transformation. And people have really impressed on me how huge this is, that just some of the ideas and principles of energetic NLP, including the fact that empowerment, creation, transformation can be playful, can be fun. And in fact, it's a lot stronger if it's fun. In my advanced programs, when I'm teaching people how to do healings and read energy fields, I discovered that as soon as I started telling people, I don't want you to really do it, I don't want you to tell anybody the truth, I want you to just pretend you can do it. All of a sudden, what took them days, they could do in hours, or actually minutes often. All of a sudden, as soon as they took this heavy, I have to do it right, I have to be responsible, and that's just one of the ideas in energetic NLP. The idea that you are in reality a beautiful and powerful spiritual being is another very significant one. Huge part of energetic NLP is energy hygiene, living from your authentic self. I used to teach energetic NLP in Paris, and the woman who sponsored me there at one time went, "You sure emphasize clearing a lot." And I went, "Yeah, because it's key." And you all have had the experience of being around people and then not feeling great afterwards, and being around people and feeling better. But when you've been around people and not feeling great, typically you've absorbed their energies, and their energies, it's not just energy, it's thoughts, it's emotions, it's programming. And you would be appalled to know how much of the energy in your energy field isn't yours, unless you're doing this on a daily level, a daily basis, and if you've been taught really good ways to do it. Because I find a lot of people who've been doing energy work for 30 years, they do stuff to clear their energy, but it's not remotely enough. Unless you know how to do it once or twice a day, every day, it really limits your life. It limits your health. It limits your vitality. It throws off your emotions. Decisions are harder because you're not clear on, you have thoughts in your mind that aren't your own thoughts. It can totally change your goals and desires in life. Now, the good news is it's simple to learn to do. You can do it in 5 minutes twice a day. You can do very significant clearing. And I'm not saying there aren't times when you want to do a lot more thorough, but if all you did was apply the energetic NLP energy hygiene techniques that are really simple to every day, taking 5 minutes to clear your energy and to do the opposite, retrieve your energy from other people, because we scatter our energy all over the place and deplete ourselves. Particularly people that are caring and compassionate, we tend to just leave our energy all over the place. And there's better ways to help people than leaving our energy in our space. Much better ways, and they're easy. But it's critical to do. And energy clearing is like brushing your teeth. It doesn't matter if you cleared your energy every year or every 6 months. If you go to the dentist and go, "But I cleared my energy," at least every 6 months, or 10 years ago, if I brush my teeth, twice a year, your dentist go, "That's not remotely enough. Your teeth are going to fall out. I want you to have healthy, good teeth and gums." So it requires every day. And like I said, the good news is it's something you can learn to do quickly. Huge part of energetic NLP, but all personal growth and transformation is deep energetic and spiritual transformation. So there's a lot of people who learn to clear energies, and there's a lot of really wonderful people that are healers, and I would get healing from them, and they'd clear my energy and I'd feel better. But somewhere between days and a week later, definitely a couple of weeks later, I'd be back where I was. And the reason for that is you have little hooks in you. Energies can't stay in your space. You're the sovereign, you're the queen or the king of your energy field. In order for energies to stay in your space, they have to hook into something. And unfortunately, there's a lot to hook into. There's karma, there's spiritual contracts, there's unconscious programming, there's energetic programming, there's ancestral, societal, family programming, there's traumas. And in energetic NLP, we're never just clearing energies. We're always going, what were the energies hooked into? Because if you clear what they're hooked into, then the energy being in your space goes from being a problem to being this wonderful gift that helped you find these hooks in yourself. And when you clear those hooks, those limitations, then you become more authentic. You can be more guided and supported, and your life just gets more and more synchronistic and miraculous. So a key part of energetic NLP is finding all of those hooks. And people are here living different spiritual journeys, and this isn't a superior, inferior thing. But some people are here leading very simple spiritual journeys, and that's totally valid. And they're the people that go, oh, I just thought about what I wanted, and boom, it's there, and that's it. And just everything kind of goes well for them in life. And they learn a technique, they do it, everything works. Most of the people that are involved in energetic NLP are what people call older souls, and mature older souls. And being an older soul is not superior to having that simple kind of life journey. It's just really complicated. A lot of us came here to do a lot this lifetime. And so, I mean, how many of you can relate to that like everything's complicated for you? And sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. And you probably wonder sometimes you see somebody that is probably less intelligent, less talented than you, and and working less hard than you, and they just boom, do something, works fine. And often, not always, but often it's just because they're here living a simpler path. Other than that, or they've created whole being permission one way or another. They've found ways to clear their energy. But again, most of the people in my tribe, the energetic NLP tribe, we're leading complicated lives. And so we need to do this kind of work if we're going to have a miraculous life. Another key part of it is to embody or to grok that you're a beautiful and powerful spiritual being. And grok is a real word. It's in the Oxford English Dictionary. It was made up by an American writer in the 60s, but it's now an accepted word. And the word was very popular at that time because in English, we don't have a word for what it means. And when we talk about understanding in English, we mean intellect. Like, oh, I understand. 2 + 2 = 4. I understand it. Grokking is when you embody a concept, when you become one with it, when you own it, when it's in your cells, it's in your body. I mean, you're one with it. You get it. You don't just intellectually understand it. You deeply embody it. And in the Discover Your Miraculous Self program that's going to be starting very soon, all the things I've talked about are a big part of it. But one of the big goals of it is that you embody this idea that you're this beautiful and powerful spiritual being. That as you embody it, then your life magically transforms. Because when you don't embody it, either you don't have it as a concept at all or have it as just an intellectual concept, then you keep thinking of yourself like you're a body with a personality. And you might go, yeah, I know I have a soul and a spirit. But you're not living out of that. And when you don't live out of it, life is less magical. It's less flowing. It's duller. It's a lot less satisfying. People tend to be less successful. The difference between that and really embodying it, the best way I can explain it is if you met somebody who only saw everything in black and white, and they were going, well, I'm fine, and I can do everything fine. Even a traffic signal, I know by where the light is. Like, not seeing colors doesn't really affect me. And you go, I just don't have any way to tell you the richness and the possibilities that color would bring into your life and the vibrancy. Well, it's a lot like that. Embodying, grokking that you're a beautiful and powerful spiritual being is one of the best life experiences I believe you can have. And all of this is in service of creating a life that's not just personal spiritual growth, but a life that's happy, that's successful, that's miraculous. And I want to say again, a lot of people think that they can do spiritual principles and bulletproof their life and nothing bad will ever happen. Well, that's just not a human life. Again, there is what the Dalai Lama calls natural suffering. We're in bodies. We care about other people. Things happen to us or other people at times. And that can create a certain amount of suffering. But when you embody your miraculous self, the unnatural suffering, the suffering that doesn't need to be there, goes way, way down. There's a lot more joy, a lot more ease, a lot more health, a lot more vitality. There's a lot more deliberate creation and being willing and able to dance with life as it unfolds, which is another big concept in NLP is to know when to effort and create and when to just sort of dance with the unfolding of life and see where it takes you. So all of these things are part of the energetic NLP system. And I mentioned at the very, well, I'll just say, all of this can take you from the linear to the miraculous. It opens up a whole new level of authenticity that most people have never known to want. It opens you up to really embodying that you're this amazing, beautiful, powerful being. Changes your identity. And by the way, the more you embody that, the more you realize that other people are that too. Everybody's that. So it changes your whole way you can relate to everybody. So your M is trying to tell you, you were right as a child. You really are special and unique. You really are capable of doing miraculous things. And I'd like to say the world needs you to open up to who you really are. I mean, as we look at what's going on and what's happening in the world, there's amazing spiritual growth and awareness happening in the world. And there's a big counter reaction to that going on too. And for the world to be a more miraculous place for everybody, all of us need to step up and embody more of who we really are. And that doesn't mean you necessarily have to, join a charity, go out and save the world. I mean, if that resonates with you, that's fantastic. But as you open up to your miraculous self, you're changing. By changing yourself, you're changing the part of the whole energy field, the whole consciousness of humanity, because we're all part of this one field. And every person who opens up to being an amazing spiritual being and embodying it in their life, we're changing the whole consciousness of the planet. And I think a lot of you, like me, we see it. I mean, we see the counter reaction too. But there's amazing spirituality in the world that certainly didn't exist when I was a kid on the level that it's happening now. It's truly astounding. And I don't know about you, I want to be part of making that happen. And part of what happens is you open up to all this, just by your presence, you change what happens around you. And you've probably all known people that when they're around, even if they're not really saying much or doing much of anything, things are better. In the work I do in corporations, people talk about there's certain people when they're at a meeting, the meeting goes better. And they may not even say much. They just change the energy of the field of the room, which isn't the way a lot of them would describe it. Though I have to say, even in corporations, more and more people will describe it that way now. Maybe not in public, but they'll do it in private with me. So at the beginning, I promised I'd tell you how it's possible to work more closely with me to discover your miraculous self. So again, what we've done so far in revising, it's supposed to have said revising or ending spiritual contracts. I hate that spell check doesn't realize when you've used the wrong word. They really need to have more artificial intelligence in it. But, you've revised and ended spiritual contracts that limit your life. You've learned some concepts that I think if you really let them play around your mind, are planting seeds and are going to help you create some really wonderful change in your life. But I'd like to tell you about how you can turbocharge that, create a more miraculous life by discovering your miraculous self and really embodying it in your life. So I want you to go from this to this. I'm very serious about that. I have a lot of testimonials, but I like this one from Bernadette Doyle, is this wonderful international business coach, helps people, particularly heart-centered entrepreneurs, to be more successful. And as she says here, she's somebody who's done a ton of personal development work. And I love what she says here towards the end, that I've had aspects of myself blossoming that I didn't even know were there. I didn't even have a hint that those parts of myself existed. But they've come to being as a result of being through your training. I'm blossoming. And I was really touched by that. So the Discover Your Miraculous Self program is actually starting this Saturday, and it will all be recorded. It's going to be 5 sessions. I'll explain that. But if you have to miss one of the sessions, you can still participate. So it's in the past, most of the really involved trainings that I did or experience work that I did with people had to travel. And let's face it, it's a lot easier to mark out the time, be at home or wherever you want to be, and be on your computer and participate. So it's convenient online learning. All of the sessions, there's a members page for people who participate in the program. There's already, even though the program hasn't started yet, there's already audio and videos on it, so people can get started right now. But after each session, they'll be online. And I can't say the membership site will be up forever, but it will be up for years, which means you'll be able to go back. Because again, the kind of people that are attracted to energetic NLP are going through a lot of personal and spiritual growth ongoingly. So we'll do a lot of work on karma. But again, going back to Goldilocks, you can't do it all at once. And so you'll have the session on karma. You can go back to it anytime you want. And it's very gratifying to me that in other work I've done, people will tell me, oh yeah, you know, that session you recorded for us 10 years ago, I listen to it every few months, and that's still changing my life. So you'll have all 5 sessions available, both to participate on the live initial session, but you'll have them as a recording. You'll also get a free bonus ticket to a 3-day energetic NLP workshop that's going to be happening in the United States in 2018. So you might be wondering if this is for you. The fact that you're still watching this webinar is strong evidence that it speaks to something deep inside of you, that you're interested in this. And I probably should say this later, but let me go ahead and mention it now. For people who do sign up for the program, they have until the day after the second session to change their minds if they choose to. So the day after the second session, if you're going, you know, this isn't for me, you send me an email, tell me that, and you'll get a full refund, a cheerful full refund, because I don't want people in the program unless they're loving it. This may sound egotistical, but people in my programs love them. And if you're not loving it, then that's totally fine. So I just wanted to say that there's no risk to you. There's people in the program that range from complete newbies to people who've done energy work and spiritual work for 30 years. It's set for all of them. I'm going to skip these other. So there'll be these 5 live group coaching sessions, and there's questions and coaching. So each time I'll introduce concepts, there'll be Q&A, and we'll do very powerful processes. And if you miss a session, you can submit questions in advance. You know, if you have questions from what's happened so far, or you can submit questions on the next session. And let's say you'll have all the recordings. And normally, just that would be a $1,500 program. And during that program, you'll clear many of your unconscious, energetic, and spiritual blocks. You'll clear karma. We'll work a lot more on contracts. You'll be clearing other people's energy, thoughts, and emotions from your energy field and learning how to do that for yourself. You'll have new ways to ground and to gender ground. And I meet very few people. I remember I spoke at the 13th Annual Energy Healing Conference. Wonderful people there. And there were a lot of people who taught people to be healers. And I'd be working with them and teach them how to gender ground. And almost all of them would go, oh my God, I've never known how to do this. This is a whole new thing to me. And of course, you'll be learning to embody your M and to help you manifest a more wonderful life. So I wanted to look at ways to help you make this even better. So one of the things that comes up with people is people go, well, I've taken workshops that were good and I didn't really apply what I learned. So I want to help ensure that you are able to fully apply what you learn. So if you sign up by the end of Thursday evening, tomorrow, well, it's the end of the evening, by 8 p.m. California time, tomorrow evening, not only are you going to get a very significant discount on the program, but you're going to get 2 bonus sessions with Jeffrey Tambor. Now, a few of you know Jeff, and that's wrong. It's actually a $500 value. Jeff is somebody, he went to one of my lectures years ago, liked it, took all my programs, even flew from Tucson to London to take one of the programs. We became really good friends. We started collaborating because Jeffrey already came into energetic NLP with a rich experience in Eastern religions and energy work and spirituality. And energetic NLP blew his mind, and he loved it. And so now he's actually part of the team, and he's a co-developer in really taking energetic NLP to its next level. And Jeffrey does amazing work. So he's going to be offering these 2 bonus sessions for people who qualify. One will be to further help you embody your awareness of yourself as this amazing spiritual being, embody your miraculous self. And that's one of Jeffrey's specialties, is to help people really embody things. And also how to work with the resistance and emotions that can come up in your body. The second session he's going to do will be designed, how do you take your new energy habits and spiritual habits, these new energy clearing and healing techniques and spiritual techniques, how do you actually make them habits in your life? Because I don't know about you, I hate it when I go, after I've had a whole problem with something, think, oh my God, I could have done this. I know these incredible things I could have done. So Jeffrey will be doing a whole session on that. Those will also be recorded, and they're ones you can use again and again to further embody, further wire in those habits, because you want to have the habits really wired in. You don't want it to be willpower. You don't have to think about it. You want it to be automatic, like all of your good habits. So I've just explained all that. So for people who sign up by tomorrow evening, they'll get what's really a total value of $4,000. They're going to get the online membership site, the 5 sessions, the 2 bonus sessions with Jeff, the free 3-day ticket to the Energetic NLP program in Los Angeles in 2018. And by the way, if you want to bring guests, it's a $2,000 program. Your guests could come for $200 if you wanted to bring anybody. You're also going to get 2 Unleash the Energy of Abundance sessions that are recorded, that again, you can listen to over and over again. And we get amazing feedback from those. And they'll also be part of this wonderful community of people, because Energetic NLP attracts really fantastic people. So I'll set up a private Facebook page. It'll just be for all of you, where you can share insights, inspirations, tips, and really help and support each other. And like I say, there'll be an amazing group of people. I know a number of people are already going to be in it. So you'll be hooked up with people that are quite amazing. Oh, and if you don't want to wait till Saturday to get started, as soon as you sign up, again, there's already some audios and videos on the site for you to get started with. All righty. So I mentioned at the beginning about childhood dreams, and most people give up on their childhood dreams, and because they don't know how to make them come true. So you can repress those dreams. You can learn to do it the hard way, like I did. I mean, I had wonderful teachers, but the gaps in what each one of them taught me were huge. And that's why I studied with a number of different people, so I could fill in the gaps from one with the other. Or you can take advantage of the 33 years I've done of quite intense study and work I've done and experience to help other people transform themselves and their lives. So I want you to be living the life of this amazing being that you already are. So let me just see if I can get this up for you. So the extra bonus is if you were to sign up again by 8 p.m. tomorrow night. Hang on, why am I having trouble with this? 1 second. Just to make the deal a little sweeter. So, I didn't even mention yet. So the program is normally a $1,500 program, even though, again, I would say it's a $4,000 value. Until Thursday evening, it's going to be $9.95. And if you sign up using the link that you're going to get right now, if you were to sign up for that, then you will get another 150 off. So that's what, $845, I believe. And then again, just to make it even easier for you, it's automatically split into 2 payments. So that, and most people charge extra money for having payment plans, but I'm not going to do that. So it just gets it split into 2 payments. The first one will get the 150 off. So it'll be split in 2. You'll get the 150 discount immediately. And again, I do want to point out, because I know you can never be sure about a program like this. Well, I mean, a lot of times people are sure, but some of you, like me, have that skeptical part and go, is this really the right thing I should be doing? So again, you have until the day after the second session to ask for a refund if you should want one. And again, you'll get it quite cheerfully. So that's the story. And I mentioned it was important to stay to the very end. We're going just a couple of minutes late. And Gina's saying, will the format be like this? It'll be a little like this, Gina, but after the first session, there'll be 70-minute sessions, but I don't have to do all the background stuff each time. So there'll be a lot of that the first session, but then after that, it'll be more rock and roll, answer your questions. And by the way, the way that I work, the energy is tailored for each one of you individually, because we put your miraculous self in charge. So there might be 50 people in the group. I bring in a symphony of energies. Your M decides what programming to release, what contracts to change, what karma, and what energies to use to do it. And also your M, when the programming is released, we set up that your M replaces it with your inner wisdom and your spiritual information. So I'm not trying to clone you. I'm not trying to get people to believe necessarily what I believe spiritually. My job is to help people clear out all the programming and stuff that gets in the way, so your own M, your inner wisdom and spirit, will replace it with whatever's right for you at this point in your life. But I did want to say, before we finish, I just want to say to your unconscious minds and your M's, if you're doing anything after the session that requires alertness and safety, particularly like if you're driving, I'm going to ask your M to adjust your energy field so that you're grounded and safe and alert. And if you're just in for the evening, then you can let the processing continue, and it will continue while you sleep tonight. So while you sleep tonight, and this is something that I'll always say in the sessions too, your unconscious mind, your M, will review what we've done, and it will infuse it with your inner wisdom and infuse it with your spiritual information. So even by tomorrow, it will be in a better place than it is now. So again, I want to thank you so much for being on this call. And I want to really appreciate, you've done some pretty amazing work with spiritual contracts, some very amazing work, whether you can recognize it or not yet, you will. And again, I'm not going to do the service that I did for years with people to let you think that's enough. If you want to have a truly miraculous life, I recommend that one way or another, you go through all of those 6 elements I talked about that are part of the energetic NLP system. And there are other ways to do it other than energetic NLP. And there just happens to be this program starting Saturday where you get to take advantage of my experience and my abilities to really turbocharge this for you. So if that resonated with you, I really hope you'll join us. And I'd be thrilled if you did. There is going to be a replay available for this. So if you know anybody who might be interested in listening to it, feel free to email them. I don't email them the link you used to join in because everybody has a unique link. But if you send them that original link you got in the email about how to sign up for it, then if they sign up for it starting tomorrow morning, I'm not sure exactly what time, but it might even start tonight, but I'm not going to guarantee that. But the replay will be going all the way through 8 p.m. tomorrow night. So if you want to listen to it again, you're welcome to. But if there's people that you think would really benefit from it, let them know. I'd love to have them. And the offers will all still be good through 8 p.m. tomorrow night. So I want to thank you so much for being part of this. Jeffrey and I are so looking forward to your involvement in the program. And Jeffrey will be doing parts of some of the sessions too. And you're going to love him. Jeffrey's so talented, passionate, enthusiastic. You'll probably like him better than me. No, that'll be fine if you do. So you'll get the advantage of what both of us do. I do want to mention for the people that are experienced in energetic NLP, while there may not be a lot of new information, there'll be some on this program. Those of you who know me know that I'm constantly evolving the energy. And this is going to be different than you've done. My goal is that people really, by the end of the 5 weeks, that you're really embodying, that you grok, that you know that you're this amazing, beautiful, and powerful spiritual being, and you're living from that place. So my goal is to really move people really far in that direction. So that's my hopes and dreams for you. And again, thank you so much for being part of this. And I hope I'll be talking to you Saturday. So thanks. I have to laugh one comment. Gina said, there's no teddy bear like you. That's how I've always seen you. I'll take that. When I was younger, I might not have liked that, but I like that now. I'll be a teddy bear. So thanks. Thanks to all of you, and bye.